How do you make KFC even better? You don't. But you can riff on finger-lickin' perfection with a side of slaw. Why are we living for freakin' cabbage? Here are the ingredients that make this extra and essential. Fresh ingredients are key to a good slaw, and KFC does us right. You won't find any wilted cabbage, and the carrots are bright and crunchy. What's more, KFC dices its produce into a fork-friendly mix, with all the flavors and textures blending into a pleasant mouthfeel. The crispness of the veggies also plays an important role in balancing out any extra liquid. The cabbage absorbs the dressing to deliver sweet and tangy flavors with each crunchy bite. Plus, you can count on KFC to always serve up freshly prepared batches at their stores, so you never have to worry about your slaw hanging around past its prime. Salt is everything. It's deceptively simple but wildly versatile, enhancing all the other flavor elements in any dish. It's a given that fast food chains typically crank up the sodium to maximize flavor, and when it comes to KFC coleslaw, nobody's holding back on the salt shaker.
Eat up! I'm doing the cooking tonight.
In 1 cup of KFC coleslaw, you'll find 361 milligrams of sodium, and that's before you even dip a spoon into the mashed potatoes and gravy, which packs its own 519 milligrams of sodium for about half a cup. But of course, salt makes this slaw delicious. Now, onto an ingredient you probably didn't even know was in there. It might come as a surprise for a dish that sways savory, but 1 cup of KFC coleslaw packs 26 grams of sugar. If you've ever wondered why this stuff is so addictive, now you know that you're scratching that sweet tooth itch.
And she knew, in that exact moment, what it meant to feel love.
It's the last thing you'd expect while digging into a recipe made out of vegetables, but KFC coleslaw likely gets its sugar content from several places. While details on the proprietary recipe are slim to none, based on the accounts of former employees, we're looking at the addition of a hefty amount of sugar in the dressing, on top of the sugar that's probably already in the mayo in the recipe. All in, that's a bunch of sugar that you might not expect in a cabbage salad. No wonder it's so tasty. Check out any recipe for coleslaw and you'll see that vinegar is the key to making this dish pop. Some may call for white vinegar, while others list apple cider vinegar. Regardless, you'll usually find some form of this flavor-boosting acid in the mix. One former KFC employee claims that the company used a cider vinegar in their highly guarded recipe. What we do know for sure is that the addition of the vinegar adds a sour and slightly tart note that complements the rest of the mix, brightening up the creamy dressing base. It all works so perfectly, you probably didn't even notice it was in there. Okay, now we're talking about an ingredient that goes gangbusters in the mix, one that you couldn't possibly miss: mayo. This provides the thick, rich base for the dressing before the diced lettuce, carrots, and onions enter the chat. All that fat and creamy texture plays well against the vinegar for that signature coleslaw flavor. While some copycat recipes use Miracle Whip instead, even former KFC employees claim their locations used it too. You can go ahead and try to replicate this dish at home, but there's no beating restaurant-style batch cooking to the punch when it comes to that signature flavor. A KFC meal almost certainly means you're getting fresh out of the oven crispy fried chicken, but if you ordered something spicier, you can only take so many bites before your mouth will be begging for mercy. This is where that cool, creamy coleslaw comes in. Whether it's the chicken or the weather that's hot, a couple bites of refreshing coleslaw absolutely hit the spot. Of course, room temp coleslaw isn't on anybody's menu. The dairy in it alone requires this dish to keep its cool in the fridge, but unlike some of the other sides on the menu, like fries, mac and cheese, or sweet corn, KFC coleslaw hits just right with the chill temps, so you can go all in on those Nashville hot nugs and not even blink.
Man, cut the bull joke and give me one of them wings.
We all know the saying, you eat first with your eyes. And thinking back on past decades of unappetizing, mass-produced, grayish foods, we've come a long way in recognizing what's gonna taste good. We've also evolved to experience what's called visual hunger, a positive association between seeing and eating food, sometimes at the same time. What does this have to do with KFC coleslaw? Take a quick look and you'll see those bright, appetizing hues popping out against the mayonnaise. This visual stimulation enhances our enjoyment when chowing down. Although, to be honest, we could down this slaw with our eyes closed. We're going full Goldilocks here to declare that KFC coleslaw isn't too much or too little. In fact, it's portioned just right. Available as an individual size, which comes in at roughly half a cup of slaw, give or take, this serving size proves that KFC knows how to get you coming back for more. The dish is a side after all. The restaurant isn't called Kentucky Fried Coleslaw. Still, is it possible to have too much of a good thing? Of course. Just try finishing the family-sized tub yourself. But with a standard order at the drive-thru, you'll usually end up with the smaller, sensible slaw. It's just enough to leave you satisfied and still dreaming of your next trip to KFC.